Hello, everyone. This is Coach Kat. Welcome to Intuitive Planning Day. It's an energetically powerful day for business miracles, and Heather Dominic will guide you in a unique and proprietary process to plan from your highly sensitive strength of intuition, meaning the power of your heart. In a moment, we're going to start our first community session. So be sure to have your printed intuitive planning handout with you, as well as a journal or something additional to take notes with. So go get that now if you need to. Our team is posting a link to the 4Q intuitive plan handout in the chat, just in case you didn't bring a copy with you. And for those listening to the recordings, you will find this handout in the online learning center. And now I invite you to begin to consciously slow your breathing. Hand on heart if you like. Deep breath in. Let it out. As you know from the weekly training roundtable over the past few weeks, Heather has been tuning into her own intuition and skills as a masterful mentor of highly sensitive entrepreneurs and leaders to identify what's needed at this exact time for you to be able to grow and love your business, to thrive in whatever you're doing, and to really enhance your life as a highly sensitive leader who's here to create more impact and more income through your life purpose. Now, on the logistical side, she's been working with our team to make sure everything is in place for today, that you've been reminded and guided how to prepare, and we've all practiced our roles to serve and support each of you. We know you prepared for this day, letting clients, friends, and family know that as much as you love and care for them, you're not available today. And that for the last hour, you've already been connecting with your heart to achieve a calm, clear, coherent state. Thank you. Thank you for this willingness to create this sacred container around Intuitive Planning Day for yourself, and therefore also for our entire community. Friendly coach reminder to mindfully continue to take care of yourself with water throughout the day and nutritious food during your breaks. The proprietary intuitive planning process that Heather's going to lead us through today is an opportunity to remember your purpose and to trust in the power of the heart to lead you to living that purpose step by step, day by day. Now, we are all well practiced on using this virtual format to create deep connection and be in our highly sensitive strengths. So just a couple of reminders to support us all in staying calm and receiving the full benefit from Intuitive Planning Day. 1, if at all possible, please leave your video on and avoid having distractions in your background, including eating. Just wait to do that when we have our breaks. Finally, in the Zoom chat feature, the team will be supporting by typing in important points that Heather's emphasizing in case that's helpful for you. So especially if you're one of our visual learners, look to the chat. Now, it's my distinct pleasure to hand it over to Heather Dominick, who's the founder of businessmiracles.com. And since 2010, she has been training highly sensitive entrepreneurs and leaders from around the globe to work less while making more impact and more income by doing things differently. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Coach Kat. Thank you for welcoming us in to this most important day, Intuitive Planning Day for February 19th, 2025. We're getting ready to create a 4-month plan that will take us all the way through June. I think it might have been my ears, but Coach Kat, I heard you say that I've been doing this since 10,010. So maybe on some level, I have, and we all have together. So why are we here? Let's just start off with just a wee bit of a reminder. Why dedicate an entire day for those of us who are here live together? tuning in, zooming in from all over the globe, early in the morning for those in Hawaii, late in the day for those in Europe and the Middle East, the middle of the night for those in Australia. Why are we here? As well as for those tuning in to a Plan B utilizing the Intuitive Planning Day recordings. Why are we here? As I was connecting in, preparing for this day, I kept going back and being reminded of the last in-person full Business Miracles community training retreat. It was in fall of 2019. And there's many of us in the community here today who were together in person for that last full community-wide training retreat. And thank goodness we are still here together. What I have been able to witness over the years since that 2019 fall Business Miracles training retreat has been truly, truly miraculous. Babies have been born. Many birthdays have been celebrated. We have lost dear ones. We have lost partners. We have lost parents. We have lost mother-in-laws and father-in-laws and brothers and sisters and cousins and uncles. We have changed businesses. There have been pivots upon pivots. We have started new relationships. We have gotten married. We have met milestones. We have truly created business miracles together, and we have welcomed so many others into the Business Miracles community since that time. And thank goodness we've had this community, we've had this place, we've had this connection. Because again, as a preparing for this particular intuitive planning day, my own intuition guiding me back to that fall 2019 training retreat. And here's the reason why. That training retreat was focused on abundance and prosperity and money. And it was amazing and incredible. And for those of us who were there, maybe we remember some really powerful exercises together and the beautiful money trees that we had in the training retreat room. And yet, throughout that training retreat, there is one metaphor that I kept calling upon. And it surprised me how much I kept calling upon it. It just kept coming out of my mouth. And that was the metaphor of a marathon. Now, I don't know why I just kept referencing a marathon. I've never run a marathon. I have no desire to run a marathon. I do remember that the New York City Marathon was happening during that training retreat, which we were in upstate New York in Saratoga Springs, not New York City. But marathon this and marathon that and marathon is all I just kept saying throughout that training retreat. And then just a few months later, COVID, and everything changed. And months after that, Black Lives Matter, and everything changed. And after that, the war in Ukraine, and everything changed. And after that, October 6th, and everything changed. And after that, and after that, and after that. And so preparing for this intuitive planning day and reflecting back to that fall 2019 training retreat, and my heart knew, preparing us for the marathon ahead. The heart knows. Heart, mind, body. Heart, mind, body. So why are we here? It could feel ridiculous, frivolous, in the heat of so much that's happening, that's transpiring outside our doors, in our local communities, in our countries, around the world. Why? Why show up in a red t-shirt on Zoom to just connect in with the heart? What? Because the heart knows. So if there is a way through, because there is no going back. But if there is a way through, if there is sustenance, if there is sustainability, it is going to come through mastering, utilizing your HSP strength of intuition, your HSP strength of intuition over fear, now more than ever. The power of your heart over the analysis paralysis of the head brain, now more than ever. The physical health of your body, this amazing instrument, vehicle that you've been given over stress-induced illness and lack of well-being, now more than ever. And that is why we are here. Let's take a breath in and let it out. Beautiful. You are prepared. You have all of your supplies. You have your printed out 4Q intuitive plan. You have your journal or extra paper to take additional notes if you choose. You have something to write with or type with. You have oils or special lights or any other transition key support that you've chosen. You have water, you have tea, you have nourishing food. You have anything else that you need to support yourself and being fully present throughout this day. If you find yourself drifting off, make a commitment now to return and come back. And I would write that down. I commit to return. I commit to reconnect. I commit to the power of the heart. With that in mind, let's support that commitment with a somatic activation. I'm going to invite you to just shift your chair back if you happen to be sitting close to a desk or a table, maybe putting anything down in your hands, especially if you're sitting on a couch or somewhere where you might be writing on your lap, so you can just give yourself full free movement from a seated position. We're going to start with hands in lap, legs, ankle, feet uncrossed. And from here, eye movements, consciously created eye movements, allowing your eyes to intentionally move to the right, allowing your eyes to intentionally look up, allowing your eyes to intentionally look to the left, and allowing your eyes to intentionally look down. And again, to the right, up, to the left, and down. One more time, to the right, up, to the left, and down. Staying with eye movements, making a choice of your own. You can continue in that circular motion or just making intentional choices, maybe touching on all four corners, but really feeling the movement of the eyes, giving them an opportunity to be center stage in the working of the nervous system, simultaneously recognizing, wow, I get to choose what I see. Also, intentional movement of the eyes helps to relax and calm the nervous system. One more go around with whatever eye movements you are intentionally choosing. 3, 2, 1, and allow them to close. Feeling the reverberation of that intentional somatic eye movement. And together we breathe in and let it out. Slowly allowing the eyes to drift back on open, bringing your hands, and particularly your index finger and your middle finger, but any of the fingers, to just right above the eyebrows, and just gently begin to tap as if you are tracing the shape of your eyebrows, staying just on top, light tapping, and then slowly allow the fingers that are tapping to begin to move around the eyes, beneath the eyes, up through the center of the eye, touching the third eye, lightly tapping, not pushing, not pressuring, not wiping or swiping, lightly tapping. Beautiful. As you reach the bottom of your eyes, hold there for a moment, continuing to tap, and then slowly allow the tapping to drift down to the cheekbones and begin to make a little bit of a diagonal tap from top of cheekbone down to the bottom of the cheekbone, back up to the top of the cheekbone and bottom of the cheekbone. The next time you meet the bottom of the cheekbone, continue tapping, but this time around the mouth, above your upper lip, below your lower lip, just gently tapping. Next time you reach the bottom, underneath your lower lip, extend the tapping out to the jaw, stretching all the way up, straight behind the ears, all the way down to the tip of the chin. Allow this tapping to happen at least 3 full stretch times, up to the tip, right below the ears, and down to the bottom, the tip of the chin. Next time you meet the bottom of the jaw, tip of the chin, allow the tapping to float down to the chest and begin to move your fingers just almost like a buzzing of a bee. Multiple bees, a tribe of bees, moving across the chest and the thyroid area, just slight, light tapping. We're now going to bring the fingertips back up to the top, above the eyebrows. Less time this time, yet intentional, a deeper level of intention, bringing into heart, bringing into mind, some type of stop, block, frustration, or resistance. Go the first thing that shows itself to you. Perhaps it's an energy or a feeling of sadness or anger. Whatever it is that presents itself to you, trust that you have been given exactly what you need. Continuing to tap over the eyebrows, now with the intention of releasing that anger, releasing that frustration, releasing that stop, that block, that resistance, moving the tapping underneath the eyes, bringing the tapping down to the cheekbones and that diagonal, continuing to focus on tapping as a form of release, of letting go, of surrender around the mouth, above the upper lip, below the lower lip, down to the jaw, stretching up to the ears, down to the tip of the chin. Release, let go, surrender. No need to hold on, down to the chest, humming like a bee. Allowing the fingers to just trail across the top of the chest to the thyroid. Bring in a hum, a physical hum, supporting the release of that anger, that resistance, that frustration. At least 3 rounds of humming for yourself. Allowing the humming to come to a rest, but continuing the bee tapping across the chest, across the thyroid. Taking a breath in as you continue to tap. Breath in and let it out. Further release, further letting go, further surrender. Bringing the tapping to the wrist. Right fingers on left wrist or left fingers on right wrist. Whichever one, switch to the opposite. Left fingers on right wrist, right fingers on left wrist. Flip one more time. Tapping on the inside of the wrist, moving that tapping to the outside of the wrist. Similar to like a bee, just allowing the fingers to just run over the top of the wrist, left to right, right to left. Now allow that tapping to move up the arm, all the way up the shoulder and back down the arm. Switch to the opposite. Tapping up the arm all the way to the shoulder and down the arm. Now take the inside of the arm, up the arm to the underarm and right back down to the wrist and move to the opposite arm, all the way to the underarm and down into the wrist. Bringing that bee humming back up to the chest. Allow the humming to come to a rest, but allow that tapping to continue, and do a check-in with yourself. Where are you at with that frustration, with that stuckness, with that sense of resistance, or whatever it is that meant to be released and let go? Bring it back to top of heart, top of mind for a final brush and release. Bringing one hand to the opposite shoulder, brushing down the arm all the way to the fingertips. A brush of one more time, a brush of two, a final time, brush of three. Go to the opposite side, hand to shoulder, brushing down to release, brushing down to surrender, brushing down to let go, and bringing hands to heart. And together we take a breath in and let it out. The eyes have not yet closed. Give yourself the gift of allowing those eyes to close. Feeling the reverberation of the intentional tapping. Somatic use of the nervous system to release, to let go, to surrender. Checking in with yourself. What do you feel? What do you hear? And what do you see? Eyes still closed, hand still on heart. Strong, steady breath in, and let it out. Beautiful. Slowly allowing your eyes to gently drift on open, hands still remaining on heart as we prepare for a round 2 of intentional tapping. This time, our intention is to buoy, to strengthen that connection with the heart, the connection with your HSP strength of intuition, the connection with you as an empowered HSP in business and leadership. There is a callback phrase, a prompt that we will use to support this intentional activation. That callback is, you can repeat after me. I, insert first name, am enough. I, insert first name, am enough. Continue to repeat after me, bringing tapping to the top of the eyebrows. I, insert first name, am enough. Below the eyes. I, insert first name, am enough. To the cheekbones, diagonal. I, insert first name, am enough. Around the mouth. I, insert first name, am enough. To the jaw. I, insert first name, am enough. To the chest. Humming of the bees. I, insert first name, am enough. To the inside of the wrists. I, insert first name, am enough. To the outside of the wrists. I, insert first name, am am enough. Traveling up the arm, I am back down. Insert first name, am enough. Opposite arm, I insert first name, am enough. Inside of the arm to the armpit, I up and down. Insert first name, am enough. Opposite arm, I insert first name, am enough. Outside sweeping, I am, insert first name, am enough. Opposite arm, I insert first name, am enough. Hands to heart, I insert first name, am enough. I insert first name, am enough. I insert first name, am enough. Breath in and let it out. Eyes closed, hands uncovered, checking in. Reverberation. Slowly dropping chin to chest. Slowly allowing eyes to gently come on open as hands float down from heart into lap. When ready, allowing your gaze to just slowly, gently rise back up, connecting in to the amazement, the power of our Business Miracles community and this Intuitive Planning Day Zoom classroom. Adjusting your seat if needed. Grabbing your intuitive plan. Taking a moment to write down, fill in, if you haven't already, your choose willingness declaration and your 3 baseline beliefs. 2025. Choose willingness declaration and 3 baseline beliefs. Powerful to bring pen to paper, even if you're copying over, using kinesthetic connection. That willingness declaration that you chose, those baseline beliefs that your heart identified. Take about 30 more seconds. And the other breath in. And let it out. If you're still writing, copying over, writing down your choose willingness declaration and baseline beliefs, that's A-okay. Continue until you are complete. As you do finish up, I want to emphasize the value of your choose willingness declaration and baseline beliefs as a tool to work with throughout all of 2025, and particularly in support of this intuitive plan. I was recently reminded of a seminar that I attended years ago, so long ago. It's like, who was that person so long ago? A seminar led by Barbara DeAngelis. And in that seminar, keeping in mind I did not know that I was highly sensitive at the time, Barbara shared a pretty brilliant analysis of a certain kind of relationship. And to describe that relationship, she used the term tanking, T-A-N-K-I-N-G, tanking. And the way that she described it was to imagine 2 tanks of water right next to each other. connected at the bottom by a metal pipe. In one of the tanks, the water is pushed down, rushing the water into the other tank, where it will inevitably bubble up onto the surface and outside of the tank. Two tanks filled with water, connected by a pipe. Pressure on the first tank, pushed down, forcing the water into the second tank, rushing to the surface, spilling over. The first tank is a metaphor for someone who suppresses their emotions. A metaphor for someone who does not take personal responsibility for their thoughts, their feelings, their words, their actions. As a result of that lack of personal responsibility and suppressing of their emotions, they therefore tank the other person. The person tanked will find themselves with their own emotions bubbling up and out, as if their emotions are out of their control because they're having to carry the other one's unprocessed issues and emotions. What the first person denies is happening, the second person reacts to dramatically. Those observing from the outside would think that the first person is cool, centered, together. And what a shame about that second person who's overly emotional, too sensitive, can't control their own sense of self. Now, again, when I first heard this, I did not know I was highly sensitive. But as I listened, I was like, that's what happens to me. I'm that second person. I'm that second tank. And thus the journey began to how to not be tanked. Your choose willingness declaration and your baseline beliefs are to remind you that you have a choice. You will be asked throughout this intuitive plan, throughout 2025, you will be asked to choose continuously. You can choose willingness to be tanked, or you can choose willingness to own what does and does not come into your nervous system. And I'm going to ask you to write that down. You can choose willingness to own what does and does not come into your nervous system. You can choose to carry all of the unprocessed crap of those who are less self-aware, less self-skilled, whether you know them personally or not, or you can choose to fill your own tank with your choose willingness declaration and your baseline beliefs. Write that down. You can choose to fill your own tank with your choose willingness declaration and your baseline beliefs. So this is the place where I remind you that your baseline beliefs came to you because you don't yet believe them. They are a baseline of beliefs, next level beliefs, to be built, to be strengthened, to be honed over an entire calendar year. I know in my own practice of working with my baseline beliefs since the beginning of 2025, it's like being in kindergarten. I'm like, wait, how do you tie a shoe? I like wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna bring to mind, I'm gonna bring to heart a baseline belief. And I was like, wait, what is that one again? What does that mean? How does that feel to me? Working with them continuously. Not said just once, understood as if done, continuing to work with continuously every week, using your intuitive plan, fueled by your choose willingness declaration, fueled by your baseline beliefs. There's a line from A Course in Miracles that reads, I gladly make the sacrifice of fear. I gladly make the sacrifice of fear. I gladly make the sacrifice of fear. And that is a continuous choice. Your choose willingness declaration is a reminder to choose other than fear. Your baseline beliefs are a reminder. I have a choice here. I choose what I feed my heart. I choose what I feed my mind. I choose what I feed my body. I choose how I fuel my tank. The choice is always yours. Breath in and let it out. 12-month goal, 90-day benchmarks. Write them down. Add them to your intuitive plan. 12-month goal, current 90-day benchmark, upcoming 90-day benchmark. If for some reason you're not clear about your upcoming 90-day benchmark, that's fine. Leave it blank. Write down your current 90-day benchmark. Again, kinesthetic power, pen to paper, even if you're copying it over, a reminder from the tips of your fingers, firing all the way into your brain, down your nervous system, touching the heart, into the body. This is my 12-month goal. This is what I choose. This is my 90-day benchmark. This is what I choose. Will I? Can I? I don't know. Let me look to my baseline beliefs to find out. I can if I choose. I will if I choose. While you're continuing to fill in your 12-month goal and 90-day benchmarks, I'm going to have the team bring up a handout as a reminder of the results map, how it all fits together. An opportunity to just get eyes on screen as you are filling in that 12-month goal and those 90-day benchmarks. As a reminder of like, oh, right, it all starts from my choose willingness declaration. I have to be willing. I have to be willing to build and strengthen those baseline beliefs. I have to be willing to use those baseline beliefs to support me in staying focused on my 12-month business leadership goal. And I have to use that choice of willingness to use those baseline beliefs to get clear about that 12-month goal to help me take action towards my current 90-day benchmark. And I have to choose willingness and I have to choose those beliefs every single week with my intuitive plan, focus, and update to help me take incremental steps towards that 90-day benchmark, which then help me to reach that 12-month goal, which then helps me to develop a new sense of core beliefs and helps me to have an entirely new level of willingness. And up the spiral we go. Up the spiral we go. I gladly make the sacrifice of fear. Every week with my intuitive plan, focus and update, I gladly make the sacrifice of fear as I keep moving towards that 90-day benchmark. I gladly make the sacrifice of fear as I meet that 12-month goal, as I create new baseline beliefs and have an entirely different relationship with willingness. Breath in and let it out. Which leads us to our theme for this intuitive plan over the next 4 months. Write this down: intuitive discernment. And thank you, team, for the screen share. Intuitive discernment. So interesting. This is getting caught in my throat. That's how important this is over these next 4 months. Discernment is the theme for this intuitive plan. This theme is an invitation to be conscious about what we ask for. Write that down. Conscious about what we ask for. An ask is fueled by a choice. Choose what you ask for. Conscious about who and what you believe. Write that down. And conscious about who and what you believe, and conscious about where you put your energy, to be most conscious and most discerning about what you think, what you say, and what you do. Our choices throughout this intuitive plan will carry weight and influence. You can choose contraction, pulling back, hiding, ensconced by fear, worry, doubt, or your choices can carry the weight and influence and support of expansion. What you think, what you say, and what you do can emphasize crisis and crashing, that final dip of that reactions to change chart, or what you think, say, and do can carry the weight and influence of creativity and abundance. Write that down. What you think, say, and do can carry the weight and influence of creativity and abundance. The choice is yours. Choose willingness. Now more than ever, it will be important to rely on intuition and what is in the heart, because you cannot simply trust what your eyes see. You cannot simply trust what your ears hear. Collectively, we are being called to go beyond the baseline of our 5 senses and tap into that 6th sense. What is in the heart? As the first go-to when making important decisions, what is in the heart as the first go-to when navigating reactions to change? This intuitive plan in general will potentially be more easeful than the last 4 weeks. The next 4 months in general will potentially be more easeful than the last 4 weeks. And can you believe it's only been 4 weeks? But more easeful over the next 4 months if you choose. If you choose to access what's in your heart, if you choose to follow what's in your heart, if you choose to act upon what is in your heart. Because the ease, the potential ease over the next 4 months will only come from willingness. Write that down. Will only come from willingness. The willingness to surrender the buy-in to struggle and hardship. The willingness to embrace more creativity and flow into our businesses, our leadership, our lives, and willingness to welcome more clarity and to take action. Write that down. Willingness to take action. Willingness to take action. Willingness to take action around issues, projects, and situations that have felt sluggish, heavy, hopeless. To take action where up until now you have been tempted to fall asleep at the wheel. By the end of this intuitive plan, we all should be well on our way to feeling a renewed sense of inspiration, ease, and forward movement. If we follow the plan. The key is discernment. To be discerning. To be discerning is to be calmly curious, particularly about your energy, the people around you, and what motivates you. Your heart-led intuition will be the best guide for you, especially when there is mass confusion. Your heart-led intuition will be the best guide for you, especially when there is mass confusion. There is an opportunity through this intuitive plan to disentangle yourself from past attachments, from expectation of others, from confusion caused by tanking. This is not mine. Now, the process of this intuitive plan can possibly be a bit unsettling. The ego wants nothing more than to stay with what it already knows, including confusion, including chaos, including crisis, because then you get to be the victim. And trust me, confusion, chaos, and crisis will be happening around you throughout this intuitive plan. However, instead of going into fear or panic, look within. Look within to see what needs to be reinvented in yourself. If a marathon was easy, everyone would do it. Look within to see what needs to be reinvented in yourself every week, with the use of your intuitive plan, focus, and update on the forum. Every week is the invitation to, instead of going into fear or panic, look within to see what needs to be reinvented in yourself. Every week, with the use of your intuitive plan, focus, and update on the forum. If you feel pulled into the swirl of negative reactions around you, use your weekly intuitive plan to raise your vibration. If you feel pulled into confusion, use your weekly intuitive plan to focus on your HSP creativity in the name of innovation. If you feel pulled into chaos, use your weekly intuitive plan to be inspired by your own intuitively guided ideas. If you feel tempted to fall asleep at the wheel, wallowing in victimhood, waiting to be rescued, or cowering in the face of persecution, use your weekly intuitive plan. Use your weekly intuitive plan to get to work, creating for yourself and others, challenging yourself and others, coaching yourself and others. What fills your tank? There's going to be so many people around you who are not going to take responsibility for how they feel, what they think, what they do. You could take all that on and just be flooded. Or get a stopper, washcloth if you need to, plug it up. Fill your own tank with guidance from your heart, clarity from your intuition, access to your HSP strength of creativity, and get to work. I gladly make the sacrifice of fear. Gladly make the sacrifice of fear. Gladly. Breath in and let it out. We are entering into our first break. Remember all the things you put in place to take care of yourself. High recommendation, silent break. Stay in the vibe, stay in the energy. The heart has been opened. The mind is starting to question. The body has been activated. Return from break, ready to dive in to the art of intuitive planning. See you back, bottom half of the hour.